with us. We are glad that you're here. We do apologize at the beginning. The video, we didn't get it uploaded, something with our IT department, but we will get it uploaded so you can watch it later. We do thank you for being here. Something that Pastor spoke on just briefly before I turn it over to our speaker is the things that we keep in our heart after being hurt, after being abandoned. I don't know what your situation is. I know what mine was. We keep things in our hearts and we don't deal with them properly. And what happens is I have found in my own that God, when I went through that process, and I've shared my testimony with a few of you in here, and some of you even online, that through that process, God said, I took that old heart out, Debbie, and I've put a new heart in you. And now you can live healed, delivered, because the Bible says He makes all things new. Okay? So thankful tonight to bring to speak to us Brother Nello. He is a member here in our church. He is a clinical social worker, and he will be speaking. Most of you have a handout, The Conditions of the Heart, Emotional Baggage. If you don't have it, please see the lady at the door. She will give you one of the handouts. You that are online, we will make this available to you.
I want to thank you for allowing me to be here with you tonight. Thank you for allowing me to come in and be a part of your group. This is your group, so thank you very, very much. I also want to give a special thanks to Sister Debbie for the work that she's doing, the ministry she's doing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and be a part of this. When Debbie first asked me if I would come and share some tonight, she mentioned perhaps from a clinical perspective, from the perspective of a therapist, of a counselor. And I got to thinking back many, many years ago when I was completing my undergraduate studies, and then as I continued on into graduate school and to pursue it, all going to be turned around and used for God's glory, and it was going to be used to reach out to people and help them. I could have never seen myself standing here tonight, but God did. God did. He was the Lord. He just laid him in front of me. And one of the interesting things is the translations that were just laid in front of me are translations that I never used before. But as I began to read them, I knew that these scriptures are for this group and they're for each one of us. I want to ask the Lord, Lord, help me. I need healing. Help take this out of me. And one night, the Lord gave him a vision of his heart. And he looked at his heart, and as he was looking at his heart, he looked, and at the base of it, there was this little blade of growing throughout his heart. They were tangled. There were roots everywhere. And that's what I want to share some about tonight, that root system. Debbie has alluded to it, and she has referred to it as a broken heart, or as a conditions of the heart real. But until we bring the focus onto myself, all I'm going to be doing is going around and around, sort of like the children of Israel out in the wilderness for 40 years. The sad thing is that they died out there. The healing is going to be completed in 6 months or a year. Debbie has talked about the stages, and while it is okay to spend a certain amount of time in each one of the stages, keep in mind that if healing is going on, there's models for healing of emotional hurts, emotional pains. will suggest that the time period is going to be in the range of 5 to 7 years, 7 to 10 years. Don't panic. You're not going to be in a living hell for 5 years or 7 years, okay? It's not going to be as bad as the moment. Yes, the pain is real and the hurt is real. Yeah, it's all real. But I'm suggesting to you that underneath that are the deeper issues, the emotional baggage issues. So we refer to a divorce as a surface symptom, emotional nature, often with an implication that the emotional baggage is detrimental. As a metaphorical image, it is that of carrying all of the disappointments, wrongs, and trauma of the past around with one in a heavy load thing. Think about the day of your marriage when you were standing there taking your wedding vows. And if you can just picture the two of you standing there, again, by the side of each one of you, you had your emotional baggage. You was taken, resolved, or set aside for good. Now, everyone has emotional baggage. So you're not wrong or bad because you have emotional baggage. And every married couple, they start off, each one of them have some emotional baggage. The real issue here is, what do you do with the emotional baggage? A healthy couple in a healthy marriage, they're going to be talking about their emotional baggage. They're going to be open. They're going to be sharing. They're going to be supporting and helping each other to overcome it. They're going to be reaching out for help and support tonight, sitting in your lap. But that's okay, because when you're ready, you can start the healing. If you haven't already started the healing process, you can start the healing process tonight. All right? The Lord's here, and the process can start. So where did it all come from? Again, read elemental stages. And with these two, the early development can create an internalized working mode through which all subsequent relationships are viewed. Something to think about is that with emotional baggage, everything beautiful that God has planned for us, all of the good things He has for us, because our God is a good God. And the reason this can be beneficial is that if you choose to start looking at your emotional baggage, as you identify the different pieces, then you can take them, and I promise you they will fit into one of these 8 main categories. Then that is so much easier to focus on, to pray about, to work on, rather than having to work on 50 or 60 or 100, however. Quality of love, and of wisdom. Some of the more common types of individual emotional baggage will be insecurities, doubt, paranoia, mistrust, secrets, hiding things, lack of commitment, guilt, regret, shame, that inner critic person. What about solutions? And I'll get to the benefit, the clinical help that can come from counselors or from those people that you trust. I'll get to that in just a moment, but I want to jump immediately to Debbie. We're here to support you. Everything that's not biblical, you run away from that person. If it's not biblical, be of help. We can help you to increase your awareness. And awareness is the starting point for any kind of a change. If we're not aware of a problem, our testimonies are so important that we can openly share, because every time I share, I've got, all right? It's no secret. Secrets will destroy us. It will help us in reaching out, asking for, seeking help and support. Forgiveness, as Pastor talked about tonight, Brother Steve talked about last month, and I love what he said last month about forgiveness is perhaps the best antibiotic for emotional pain, for emotional baggage. Forgiveness, it's a must. Journaling, As Deb talked about during the first session, journaling really works. It gets everything out of our head. It gets the Lord start the healing to where you can be ready for the good stuff that God has for you and actually receive it as good. Use of tokens. Tokens actually work. You have to practice on them. But if you get you like a little pet rock that you can carry around, or a coin, something that you can carry with you as a reminder of when the old behaviors are kicking in. It takes a little practice. It actually works. And as you start the awareness, again, it takes us back to awareness. Ooh, I'm doing that. Oh, that's that old behavior. Stop it. I'm not going there. And you'll have a new set of behaviors that you can turn to. And that brings us to release and let go. And I'll spend just a couple of moments on that because it's so important. Pastor actually made a comment about it tonight in his video, the power of forgiveness. And with forgiveness, you're able to release, you're able to let go the old emotional baggage. Sometimes people are under a misconception that release and let go is like sort of a cop-out, that you're just going to say, okay, I'm not dealing with that, it's gone. And actually, poor choices and get too attached to specific outcomes. When you release and let go, you're not trying to avoid the consequences of your predicament. You're not forgetting what has happened or the reality of your circumstances. You are instead taking the time to clear your head and gain a clearer perspective of the situation. Releasing and letting go is all about responsibility. It's about taking responsibility for whatever situation you find yourself in. It's about stepping back and not allowing yourself to get overwhelmed by that particular moment. In other words, it allows space for positive change and transformation. I provided you with a list. I think it's an excellent list of emotional baggage. I had to ask them, how did I contribute to the unit conflict? Oh, I hated that assignment. That was a rough one. So again, this is the importance of being able to start reaching out and talking to people, to have other people share honestly with us. A good friend, they'll tell you the truth. It doesn't feel good, but it's for your healing. I want to close with a set of scripture. God, your God, will get you out of there, and He will bring you back to the land your ancestors once possessed. It will be yours again. He will give you a good life and make you more numerous than your ancestors. God, your God, will cut away the thick calluses on your heart and your children's heart, freeing you to love God, your God, with your whole heart and soul, and live, really live. God, your God, will put all these curses on your enemies who hated you and were out to get you. In this book of Revelation, nothing half-hearted here. You must return to God, your God, totally, heart and soul, holding back nothing. This commandment that I'm commanding you today isn't too much for you. It's not out of your reach. It's not on a high mountain. You don't have to get mountaineers to climb the peak and bring it down to your level and explain it before you can live it. And it's not across the ocean. You don't have to send sailors out to get it, bring it back, and then explain it before you can live it. No,